and more moments seeing this Toronto Maple Leafs team in full swing, because it looks like time doesn't stop for this group. Last time we met, we outlined what the Leafs had to do in order to have a successful California road trip. And man, boys, we hit it on the head. I got to give it to us. Let's pump our own tires here, give ourselves a pat on the back. We all said the main message.
Steal my line?
Well, of course I stole your line. I had to. Anyways, the main message last week that we outlined for this Toronto Maple Leafs team, what they had to do against this California trio, to get the ball rolling for the offense. You need to have an explosive game or a series of explosive games to start getting these boys going. At that time when we were discussing it, they did sit dead last in 5-on-5 production. We even gave up the stat in last week's episode. And well, just a week later, Leafs Nation, it's in jubilation. Like, this team sweeps the West Coast. LA 6-2 score is your final. San Jose 4-1 victory. Anaheim 5-1, the game that you saw with absolutely no fans or no energy in the stands. And they set a franchise record straight with 7 straight road wins. They outscored their opponents 18-4 on the trip and never trailed once. So guys, I really don't want to ask you guys about your thoughts on the trip, because I'm sure we're going to get a bunch of similar answers, because there's not much to say of just how much success we've seen from all aspects of the ice with this Toronto Maple Leafs team. But I'm going to ask you guys, what is the identity of this team? What were your thoughts in the comments that we saw after that Ducks game, after the road trip sort of came to be? I mean, I come to Kerfoot's comment comes to mind following the game, where he's like, everyone's just buying in. You could say, well, why weren't they buying in before? Isn't this what a Stanley Cup aspiration winning team wants to do? The fact that we're seeing that now, it just shows the maturity of this group. So do you guys see these guys being a bit more mature over this road trip? And what does it mean identity wise for this club? Evan, I'll start with you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess I'll pull in a demo here and try to find the crappy part of this. But look, the California road trip isn't what it used to be. Like, the teams aren't as good anymore. Like, if they had swept the California road trip, let's say 2015, 2016, I totally get, like, that would be a huge, oh my God, huge motivational boost. To be fair, the Ducks have been trending in the wrong direction these last few games, and the Kings went on a 6-game winning streak, and just like the Kings, then they went on a 7-game losing streak. So they have also been trending in the wrong direction, and the Sharks have problems of their own. But I do like the comments after the game. God, Leafs Twitter absolutely destroyed the Ducks. That was some cyberbullying. Like, my God, just absolutely brutal. I couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny. But look, they hadn't scored, I believe it was 6 goals in a game, and they finally did it against LA. What I said before, like, if you're going to win, like, dominate, like, beat up on the crappy teams. And that's exactly what they did. They stomped LA, which I knew would happen because they were just trending in the wrong direction. And the Ducks, although they got off to like a semi-hot start, like, they weren't winning games, but they also like weren't losing by a lot, but they have been bad. So I think it's great. Just consistency is the name of the game for the Leafs.
And just like, you're absolutely right. Like, no strong teams. If this was 2015, 2014, Getzlaf, Corey Perry are going off a perk, and they're just potting goals left, right, and center in the back of your net, and you're beating those teams, yeah, you got to give yourself a big pat on the back. That's a huge deal. But now these California teams, though they started off really hot, have absolutely cooled down. In this Leafs series that they played against them is just another attest to that. But the reason why I'm going towards the mature side of it is because we don't usually see the Maple Leafs coming in to not just California, but teams that are sort of trending in the wrong direction and starting to blow leads or starting to lose games, drop games that they should win. They didn't look back in this series whatsoever. So I think that shows a little bit more maturity on that side. They went in, like you said, Evan, got the job done, and got it done by a wide margin. Jared, do you have anything to comment on the identity, the comments that this team made, and maybe even some of that treacherous Leafs Twitter that they were handling against the Anaheim Ducks?
Well, I love the comments that we saw after the game, because very much what the team was saying was, whereas last year they were very much happy. Yeah, we're a first place hockey team and they were all great. Like, the mindset around this team right now is very much, the job isn't done. We aren't satisfied. We haven't achieved what we want to achieve. So it's like, they're obviously proud of themselves. They're doing great right now. But everyone kind of has this shared mentality of, we know what happened last year despite how good our regular season was. So everyone very much is like, nope, we have to keep working. This wasn't a vacation, was the big tweet message that I saw. Is it wasn't a vacation. We came in, it was a business trip. We got the job done. So I just loved what I was hearing from everyone around the team, where everyone is kind of now, it seems like they've completely bought into Keith's system. They've completely bought into the group that they have. And overall, it was just a very good mindset that the team has kind of adopted now, where it's like, we know that just having a good regular season doesn't exactly mean anything come playoffs. So everyone very much says, no, right now we're playing the right way, but there's still a lot more work we have to do. And that is something that as a fan, obviously we don't know how it's going to translate into the playoffs. So that's something that makes me very positive. Then as well, I mean, on Twitter, Leafs fans were loving it. Right now, we came off of our hottest month that we've ever had in franchise history, over 100 years of franchise history. So that's huge. 12-2 month, obviously 12 wins in 14 games. And Leafs fans were loving it. All over Twitter was memes were being made. I wish I could pull them up. I don't even know if it's gonna work. I have a million saved on my phone, but I just don't think they're gonna work if I hold it up to the camera. But yeah, every meme it would just be like a player's face and some kind of caption ripping on the opponent. It's like I saw one where obviously so Austin Matthews had this moment where he was mic'd up, and Jason Spezza scored a big goal, so he made this very shocked face. I saw a bunch of memes using that face of Austin Matthews, the shocked at how shit your team is. So there's a bunch of stuff like that. But yeah, the team is loving it. The fans are loving it. But at the same time, I see a pretty shared mindset of the job isn't done. We have to keep working at it. And I'm just loving what I'm seeing from this team right now.
Absolutely. And it's a huge positive to see from this group. So many positives to take from this group. I don't know, Adamo, do you side with the maturity of this group? Do you still need to see more? Is there still something more to prove? And let's put playoffs aside because, yes, that is the big thing to prove. But judging like right now, what we've seen, is there anything that's taken your eye? And is the maturity here, or is there still ways to go?
Okay, well, I was actually thinking of what I was going to say beforehand. So let me quickly say that.
Yeah,
Jared, who was the first person to congratulate Sean Durzi on his first NHL goal? Do you remember?
I don't actually know, but I'm gonna guess Jack Campbell because that just seems like something you would do.
No, crap! It's not coming up.
I'm
What time did I make this tweet? It was at 10 o'clock.
You're right. I responded to you actually. You did say that. You're right.
I was driving around Staples Center when Durzi scored, and a bunch of fans were like, "Oh my God, we just missed it."
Yeah, basically, I sent out a tweet at like 10 o'clock before the Kings game, and it literally says, word for word, "Congratulations, Sean Durzi, on your first NHL goal." And he promptly gets 2 points. But to continue on what you were saying about the maturity thing, I don't put any value into, I think what you said, Kerfoot said, just because as like, even as a kid growing up, it was all, oh, you guys got to buy in, everyone buys in. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like when the term buy in doesn't really mean much to me. I remember a couple nights ago, JT Miller and who was it? Bo Horvat were talking about, is this team buying in? And I think you have to buy in to be an NHL player, just because, you know.
What do you want? What do you want Miller to say on that?
Oh, I know. Oh no,
this team's in the fucking dump.
Yeah, that was something else. But I'm just saying, like, the term buy-in doesn't mean much, but you can definitely tell on the ice they look, I guess, a little bit more mature. Their identities kind of become, let's score some goals and Jack Campbell. Look, those two things are our identity. Like, the team defense is meh. It's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. What is great is having 2 top 5 goalies in save percentage right now, and goals against average. They're both below 2. It's ridiculous. Going back to what we said last episode, I think what I said was kick the California team's asses. It's exactly what they did. Jack Campbell, you want to be a part of USA? Go show up John Gibson. Gibson gives up 5. Campbell gives up 1.
4.
1.
No, I'm saying Gibson gave
4?
up 4.
Oh, yeah. And I guess that
we'll
call it 4. Yeah, he gave 4. I was gonna say don't count the Simmons one, but no, he scored on him. So yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with this Leafs team. I gotta say, they've converted me. I'm a believer now. I'm a believer that this team is a contender. I still don't think they're a playoff lock as much as they've been really good. They're riding a ridiculous shooting percentage right now that's bound to regress, but I'm a believer this is a very good hockey team now.
He's a believer. I don't think I've ever thought I'd hear the words on this podcast live, but here we are. He believes in the group. The team's playing strong. And man, we got to give credit to them. Like, let's live on the high, because I know one time in the season, I was telling it to a bunch of my buddies, as the season goes on, we're going to hit a bunch of lows. They're due for their licks in a couple of months. And we're going to see it at probably the worst time. But let's enjoy what we got right now, and let's enjoy what Jack Campbell is bringing us, because I want to ask you guys this very quickly, maybe a yes or no score. If the Olympics do go on, I know it's in a bit of turmoil right now. There's a lot of things going on in the world, and the Olympics is not really the most important one of them all. But if the NHL does decide to go through with the Olympics, who's going in net? Campbell or Gibson? In that Sunday night's contest, settle the score. Adamo, I'll go with you, and then I'll switch it over to Evan.
How do you not take Jack Campbell? I don't know if any of you guys are going to say it. If say not Jack Campbell. If you are going to say no to Jack Campbell, I want you to make an argument as to why Jack Campbell shouldn't be on Team USA. He's the best goal. He's the Vezina winner this year. End of discussion.
Well, at this moment in time.
At this moment.
Yes.
It's looking
like. Yes. Full stop. If the NHL season, if friggin' COVID-13 happened and they said, yo, season's done, he is the Vezina winner. Full stop. So, yeah, he's on Team USA.
But what
over Gibson too.
What worries me most is that it's like he's head and shoulders over whoever's next. Like, it's not even close. The other competition, he is having a terrific season. You wouldn't have thought, like last season where we had that, I think 11 win streak, something like that, where he broke the franchise record. You think that was the best we'd seen out of Jack Campbell? He just fade. We all know what kind of career he's had. He's always been stuck in the minors. Now it's his first ever consistent year he put together. It's been nothing like that. He's been getting wins after wins after wins. Cool, calm, collective. Insert goalie metaphor here. He's been doing it all. And I think right now he's a clear lock for the Vezina. I think he's a clear lock for Team USA if they go there. And I don't know, Evan, are you going to disagree here, or you got something else for your?
I'm just trying to think of goalies. So I know like Connor Hellebuyck is obviously a surefire lock. I'm just trying to think of other U.S. goalies that
Gibson and Demko.
Spencer Knight, there's talk about just for to have a young guy there.
Fuck's sakes, Spencer. No, I want to rant about this.
Never mind. But okay, so I think the two locks, I think the two locks should be Connor Hellebuyck and Thatcher Demko, and then I think Jack Campbell should be the third, because I think Demko has been, as I know, like the stats aren't showing it, but Thatcher Demko has really saved the Vancouver Canucks from a lot more blunder than, if you've seen some of the games where he's made some very key saves to even let them have a win. Like, I think he's proven to be better over time right now than Jack Campbell is. I'm not saying that Jack Campbell isn't going. I'm just saying, I think on this depth chart, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of GMs had Demko over Jack Campbell.
Oh, you raised a terrific point. And I mean, I disagree. I still think Jack Campbell's going to play throughout the season as he is right now. Not like as crazy, but he's still going to put up similar numbers. But you got to look at Thatcher Demko's resume. I think right now it's looking a little more. Remember Allmark when he was in Buffalo, how he was just not stealing games, but putting up a couple wins that he shouldn't have won. The Buffalo Sabres have no business being in that game, and he's being the leader that he is in net. I think that is something that we're seeing right now with Thatcher Demko, the Dem Show, as a lot of people call it. I love him. He's a terrific goaltender. I watched him. If you guys don't know, I've said it a bunch in the podcast. Vancouver is my side team that I usually root for. Obviously, it's not going well right now, but I really analyzed them in the playoff run a couple of years ago, and whenever they go far and how they're playing. Demko is a terrific goaltender, but I still think this year Jack Campbell, as of right now, and I don't want to throw in the records of the teams, the win records, because
that doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
They're evaluating.
Exactly. Not at all. It's just a matter of who's the better goaltender at that time. I think Jack Campbell will be that one. Jared, what do you think?
Right now, Jack Campbell's the best goalie in the league, and he will be on Team USA. But the question initially was whether you're going to have Jack Campbell or John Gibson. Why not both? I think I like Connor Hellebuyck. I think he has to be a lock, regardless of how Winnipeg's doing. Like, Connor Hellebuyck is your Team USA goalie. But Jack Campbell, there's no reason to keep him off that team the way he's playing right now. And then I think you bring John Gibson as well. And then you could kind of rotate whether you want to play John Gibson or Jack Campbell. I think that top three is amazing. I know I have heard a lot of talk about the Spencer Knight thing, just because it's like, oh, you have in Steve Dangle, the word they use is the puppy, which the example they gave was like Marc-Andre Fleury was the quote unquote puppy that they brought on in 2010. Like, sometimes you just bring a nice young goalie to kind of be a locker room guy, whatever. But the way that Jack Campbell's playing right now, there's no reason that you're passing a player like him aside to just bring this young kid over, just like to give him a good mental state. Like, at the way he's playing right now, Jack Campbell, there's no reason to keep him off. I like John Gibson as well, and as much as he's with a struggling Ducks team, he probably should be on Team USA as well. I do get the conversation about Thatcher Demko. I know he's individually a great goalie, and he's made a couple saves, and he's done the best that he can to keep his team in it. But if you're going to call him the savior of the Canucks right now, well, he's not doing a very good job at saving the Canucks because they're just doing absolutely horrible.
Well, that's something like all he can do is stop.
I know you can't blame him purely, and that's not what I'm doing. But at the same time, if you're looking at the goalie to represent your country right now, is the goaltender on one of the worst teams in the league really where you should be looking? I don't know about that.
I think he's worth the crack a list, though. I don't think he's going to be starting.
He'll be on the big list.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
At the end of the day, you probably have to narrow it down to 3.
Yep.
And I think Connor Hellebuck has to be a lock. If Jack Campbell continues the way he's playing, he's probably a lock as well. And then you only have a choice of one other goalie for that final spot, and it's going to be a conversation of John Gibson. It's going to be a conversation of Thatcher Demko. Maybe you look at a young goaltender as well, like a Spencer Knight. But there isn't too many names. Like at the end of the day, only one player is going to crack that spot, and it's probably going to be a toss-up between Demko and Gibson, and it's a matter of who at the time they make that list is playing better. So obviously we don't know who that's going to be in a few weeks' time, but I don't know. Right now, just the way that the Canucks are playing, yes, maybe you could look at his stats, but I just don't know if Thatcher Demko is the goalie that I'd pick to be on Team USA. Just he's on such a bad team, and I get it. He's doing the best that he can, but the team's absolutely in the dump right now.
And I mean, I think I was listening to Overdrive today. If you guys don't know, it's a great radio show. Definitely recommend you check it out. They were mentioning there was an interview with Mike Johnson. It's about why don't they bring the hottest goaltender in, just like not a starter or anything, but need be the hottest goaltender at that time and give him a shot. I think because we've seen it before in the Olympics where you give a guy who's hot the starting position for a little bit and he runs away with it and he's your saving grace in the tournament. So I don't think that's a bad idea either. I think it might even come down to that with all teams, especially the United States, because they have such a deep plethora of goaltenders to select from. And I think that wouldn't be a bad problem at all for them. And I really don't want to touch upon so much Olympic stuff now because I just wanted this to be a little bit more of a debate. And if you're going to find someone who doesn't have Campbell on that list, there's going to be a little bit of problem because Campbell must be on that list. No matter how he plays now or in the future, he's definitely given his resume and it shows that he can play with the big boys. And I think we're going to have a lot of Olympic coverage going forward. I can guarantee you that if it so does happen and comes to fruition, don't you worry, the Leafs line got you covered. We'll be getting all of that. And it's going to be an exciting time. I haven't seen, nor have any of us seen an Olympic Games for hockey since, I believe, 2014. Sochi was the last one that we saw. It was a terrific tournament.
Sochi.
Nonetheless,
we were 12.
We were 12, man. I didn't have an idea if I was going to do a podcast. I wanted to be an electrician.
You know what a podcast was?
I didn't even know what a podcast was. I had no aspirations.
Back in the day when the iPhone 4 was.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We were rolling with the iPod shuffles. That's whatever. But I'm gonna shuffle my way over to this next question because I just want to ask you guys. This is probably the last question I'm going to spend on the Toronto Maple Leafs. How should we gauge the reaction meter? We've had a famous reaction meter on this show. Evan very perfectly put it in colors. Yellow is bad. Red is very bad. All that kind of stuff, if you remember. Where do we gauge the reaction meter for this Toronto Maple Leafs team? And how should Leafs Nation react? Are we overreacting through this hot streak? Are we underreacting? Or is the lack of playoff success playing a role in measuring and gauging where we should lie this meter? I don't know. It's been the topic for discussion within Leafs Nation. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it because it's a pretty interesting thing to talk about. It's hard to pick at this team when they're 12-2 in the month of November, best hockey they've been playing in franchise history. But is it just a fad? It's going to fade because they're not going to have this consistency for long. Or is the lack of playoff success from last season and seasons before just saying, all right, let's put the pedals on this. Let's pump the brakes. It's nothing crazy. Let's wait till they have it done in the postseason. Adamo, I'll start with you.
Chill. I'm going to say chill, Leaf fans, just because we're not going to get what Campbell's on 946 right now, the 1.6 goals against average. So the entire season, we're not going to average, what are we? We're like something stupid in our last 14 games in terms of goals for per game and goals against per game. Like it's not sustainable to score 4 a game and give up 1 a game. So in terms of reaction, let's relax because we're not like the second coming of Christ as a hockey team. But if so, what was the colors again? Do you want me to
Red,
rank?
like red is oh crap. Green is like we vibing.
Green, reviving, have some fun. It's the regular season. Like I forgot who tweeted it, but they put it perfectly. This team could go like 82-0 and we would not care because doing the playoffs. So as much as like it's you have to analyze something because hockey's hockey and we're here to entertain, but part of that is true. Like we need to see it in the playoffs first and then we'll believe it. But the way they're playing, if this team didn't have a history of terrible playoff runs, the way they're playing right now suggests that this team is a serious Stanley Cup contender.
A juggernaut. That's probably the best word you could put it at. Yeah. Let's not put it there yet. But
dude, CJ got grilled for that.
He did. No, it's but it's all coming together for this team, and that's the reason why Leafs Nation is in hysterics, because we haven't seen. Obviously, in franchise history, we haven't seen a month such like this with this amount of wins. We haven't seen this much success in recent years from this team. I was going to ask you guys, but I don't want to go too much on that tangent. Last year, we saw a bunch of success. It's not like success is unknown for the Toronto Maple Leafs in the regular season. It's in full swing. We're seeing it now. We saw it last year. I remember when they shut down that the Edmonton Oilers back-to-back. McDavid and Draisaitl didn't record points in back-to-back games. That was probably the biggest success that I've ever seen from this Maple Leafs team. Probably the best hockey I've seen from this Maple Leafs team. This one tops it. This one takes the cake. And that's why I want to ask you guys, where should the reaction lie with this team? Jared, what do you have for me? Oh, Jared.
You're muted, bro.
Yeah, they're muted or the mics?
You're muted or something.
I thought you fixed it.
I swear this happens once, like he's working at it. It happens like once every podcast.
Yeah.
Could you hear me?
There you go.
Yeah, we can hear. Is it your Zoom or is it your mic?
No,
It's my mic.
Oh,
it's
it's like
basically I have
plug-in.
this. I don't know if you can see it. Basically, I have this thing that all my cords are plugged into.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I just need to unplug it, plug it back in. It's weird, but whatever. Okay, so what I was saying a second ago is it is November, so we need to chill a little bit. I definitely agree with that. But at the same time, the question is, how are we doing right now? Right now, we're doing amazing. And if fans' reactions are what is happening right now, we have the right to be happy because the way we're seeing the team play is very much a positive thing. So at the same time, it's like, yes, it's early in the season. We don't know what's going to happen in April. But you can't also in November be like, well, it's not April yet. So then don't watch. Like right now, we're doing well. Be happy that we're doing well right now. Don't go crazy that, because we're doing well in November, it's going to mean we're going to be amazing in April. We don't know. But the way we're playing right now, there's very much the reason to be positive. And Leafs fans have the right to celebrate their team. Not in a crazy way. Not in a way like, we're for sure winning we're sure doing it, whatever. We don't know if we're going to do it. We don't know what's going to happen come the playoff time. Right now, things are going really well. And I think fans have the right to kind of celebrate that.
100%. And there hasn't been much in recent years for Leafs fans to celebrate. If there's anything I'm going to take from your points, Jared, is probably just for a Toronto Maple Leafs perspective and just a life perspective, just live in the moment. Let the team go. Let them have fun. You have fun watching this team. That's what they're here for. They're here to provide you good entertainment. That's what they've been doing. Evan, what do you make of the reaction meter, your famous reaction meter on this show? Where does it lie? Is it in the red, the vibe in green, or are we in the middle here with the yellow?
Well, I don't know. Like I think it's green just because it's like, they've been really hot as of late and they're winning games that are very good come postseason time. They're winning the gritty 3-1, 2-1 games, and that's what you can hope for. And I said last time, like they've already eclipsed the amount of one goal game wins that they had last season. They've already eclipsed that this season. So that's positivity for Sheldon Keefe and everyone. Obviously, you're not planning a parade anytime soon. And to your point, Adamo, I do think that there's still that Leaf slander because we haven't seen that success in April, and because we constantly see we constantly see that success of the Leafs in the early months of the year, and then it kind of slows down, which is why it then leads to April blunders. So I do think, like, for now though, just be happy that they're trending in the right direction, and that they're also, but like the main point is that they're winning games that are very crucial come playoff time, that they know that they have the confidence that if there is a tight game in the playoffs against whatever team, they know that they're capable of winning it. And I think that's the confidence that they lacked last year, where they were down 2-0, let's say in game 7 to Montreal, and they just looked so defeated. Like they looked like they had already gotten off the ice and started undressing their gear. Like they didn't look like a team that was like, we can come back. And maybe that has to do with the fact that John Tavares wasn't there. So that like that voice wasn't there. But I don't know. I think they're fine now. What is it, like laugh now, cry later? Who's
Drake.
Yeah.
Drake.
That's how
think
I'll
that's
drop the
song.
mic. I'll end it on that.
I love it.
I don't actually know. I don't know actually know the song. I think that's the song though.
Yeah.
No, we'll keep it at whatever Evan says here. I have full faith in him.
Yeah.
But
Trust the process.
we'll trust the process. But just to end off this Leafs talk here, and it was a terrific discussion. Finally, we have something to praise about with this Maple Leafs team and some good positive notes on that. All I want to say is just use the play in November as a stepping stone to what we're going to see to come. Jared, you mentioned how November hockey doesn't matter at all in April. Well, no, it doesn't matter, but it still plays a role in how you get there. It's sort of like a path that you have to follow to get towards that. And right now they're zooming on that path. So the Toronto Maple Leafs, there's nothing much to not love about this team. I think right now we're seeing a little bit more maturity. I think I'm going to stand by that. I love the comments that I saw throughout this road trip. I don't think I've ever seen it come from a player, which is in the same time sad as it is, or sorry, concerning as it is surprising. But I love what I'm seeing from the group inside, internally, and on the ice. They're playing the full 60 minutes, which I love. We haven't seen that too often in recent years. They're finding different ways to win. They could play that shutdown game, like you mentioned, Evan. They finally broke, or not finally, but they surpassed their previous streak of how many games they won. So they're playing that kind of style. They could blow out teams that they have to beat. There's that kind of style. They're doing everything that we're asking of them. And one team comes to mind, and this might be a big mic drop to you guys. Team that did that last year and the year before, Tampa Bay Lightning. They had a very good run all season, and one step that the Leafs haven't beaten yet, and let's pump the tires on it, they did all that in the playoffs as well. So if the Maple Leafs can continue doing in the regular season, transfer it in April. I know we're having this conversation at the end of November, so I think it'll definitely change by the time we get to the springtime, but just stepping stones towards what can potentially be Leafs Nation. Let's keep it at that.